Are you still treating Vim registers like a basic clipboard? Or maybe you don't even know what a register is. I'm going to show you how to level up your editing skills with a crash course in Neovim Registers, right now. Most operating systems and applications utilize a single shared clipboard to cut, copy, and paste. We'll call this the system clipboard. Neovim is different. It uses something called registers. Each register is like a vim-specific clipboard, but instead of just one clipboard, you have dozens of them, each with its own special features. It can be overwhelming at first, but in the next few minutes, we're going to lay the groundwork for a deep understanding of Vim registers. Let's get into it. There are 10 types of registers, and each one serves a unique purpose. Each register is activated using two characters, the first of which is always the double quote character. To access a register in normal or visual mode, press the double quote character, followed by the register you want to access, which we'll get into shortly, then an action like P for paste. You can also access a register in insert mode by pressing Ctrl-R instead of double quote. You can view the contents of all registers with the reg command. Alternatively, if you are using Telescope, you can use the Telescope Registers command. Similar to other Telescope commands, this also allows you to fuzzy find over your registers. First, let's start with the unnamed register, represented by two double quotes. This is the default register and automatically stores text that you delete or yank. For example, if you delete a line with DD, that text goes into the unnamed register. This is also the register used when pasting text using lowercase p. If you've ever yanked and pasted text in Neovim, then you've already used the unnamed register. If for some reason you wanted to explicitly use the unnamed register, you can also press double quote, followed by an action like P to paste. But since this is the default register, this is generally unnecessary. Next up, we have the numbered registers, represented by double quote 0 through double quote 9. Register 0 holds the most recently yanked text, while Register 1 contains the last deleted text. Each time you delete or change text, the contents of Register 1 shifts to 2, 2 to 3, and so on, up to 9. Whereas Register 0 stays the same until you yank text again. This also has the effect of creating a sort of delete history, which, as mentioned earlier, you can view with the Registers command. Have you ever encountered a scenario where you copy something, then paste it over top of something else, but when you try to paste the thing you originally copied again, it instead pastes the thing you just replaced instead? If we look at the registers, we can see that this happened because changing or deleting text replaced what was in the unnamed register. When this happens, you can instead press double quote 0 to activate the 0 register, which always contains the last thing you yanked, then press P to paste. Next, let's take a look at the named registers, which allow you to manually store text in 26 different locations, double quote A through double quote Z. Use lowercase a through Z to overwrite the register's contents and uppercase A through Z to append. You can think of this as a powerful way to have 26 mini clipboards. I agree, 26 is probably overkill, but I often run into situations where I want to copy 3 or 4 different pieces of text without having to switch back and forth between buffers over and over, so it does come in handy, and also gives you the flexibility of choosing whichever letters work for you. For instance, you can press double quote A followed by YY to yank the current line into the A register. Then press double quote A again, followed by P to paste this line. Macros are also stored in the named registers, so when I press QA, I start a macro that will be stored in the A register. Then I'll press JD4J to delete the next 4 lines, then press Q again to end the macro. If we look at our registers again, you'll see the A register now contains the macro I just recorded. What if you recorded a macro but realized you got one step wrong? For instance, maybe I wanted to only delete the next 3 lines instead of 4. Try this cool trick. Type double quote A, followed by P to paste the contents of the A register, correct the macro, then put it back into the register by visually selecting the text and then pressing double quote A again, followed by D. Now when you run the macro, it works as expected. Up next, we have the read-only registers. The last inserted text register, represented by double quote period, holds the last text that was inserted in insert mode. For instance, if I type something in the wrong spot and then realize my mistake, I can undo with U, then go to the correct spot and press double quote period to activate the last inserted text register, and then press P to paste in the correct spot without having to type the text again. The last command register, represented by double quote colon, contains the last command that was executed in command mode. This is handy when I'm trying to get a complicated command right, and when I get it to work, I press double quote colon to activate the last command register and paste it into my notes or send it to a coworker. In normal mode, you can also press Q colon to open a command history and choose a command to execute. The current file name register, represented by double quote %, holds the name of the current file being edited. This can be used with many different commands. For example, the E command followed by the % will reopen the current file. The command $!JQ will reformat the current JSON file with JQ. You can use this register anywhere that you want to inject the current file path into a buffer or command. You can also use the % with the following modifiers as well. Next, we have the last search pattern register, represented by double quote /. This register holds the most recent search pattern you used in Neovim. It's particularly useful for quickly navigating through search results. For example, if you press / followed by a word or phrase, you can use lowercase n to jump to the next occurrence and capital N to go back to the previous one. In normal mode, you can also press Q/ to open the recent search history and choose an item to search again. The next type of register is the alternate buffer register, represented by double quote #. This register contains the name of the alternate or previous file in the current window. This is useful when switching between files. For example, the E command followed by a # will reopen the previous file. Next up are the selection registers, the plus register, and the star register. The plus register is represented by double quote + and is equivalent to the system clipboard, enabling you to copy and paste between applications. Many Neovim users update the clipboard setting to include Unnamed Plus, which configures Neovim to always use the clipboard for all operations, instead of interacting with the selection registers explicitly. The star register is represented by double quote * or asterisk and stores the last text selected with the mouse. Next is the black hole register, represented by double quote _. This is another interesting one. When you delete text into this register, it disappears without affecting any other registers. It's perfect for when you want to delete something like an API key or password without accidentally saving it to a register. Next is the small delete register, represented by double quote --. It is used for text deleted with commands that affect less than one line. Motions like DW or deleting a character with X will send the deleted characters to the small delete register. I personally haven't found too many use cases for this register, but I will show you one possible use when we get to the section on the expression register. If you know of any other good use cases, please leave me a comment below. Alright, I've saved the best for last. The expression register, represented by double quote =, is one of the most powerful registers because it allows you to evaluate expressions directly within Neovim. When you type double quote =, you can enter any valid expression, and it will compute the result. You can use it to perform calculations, manipulate text, and even generate dynamic content. Let's see a few examples. First up, you can use the expression register to perform calculations. This is especially handy for doing quick inline math right when you need it, without leaving Neovim. For instance, if you're in normal mode and want to quickly add two numbers, you can type double quote =, followed by an expression like 5 + 10, and when you hit enter, Neovim will calculate the result of 15. You can then press P to paste the result into your buffer. If you are in insert mode, you can press Ctrl-R instead of double quote, followed by equals for the expression register, enter your expression, and hit Enter. The result will automatically be inserted back into your buffer at the cursor position, so you don't have to press P afterwards. The expression register isn't limited to basic operations either. You can do advanced math with Neovim's built-in functions. Next, let's show an example of using the expression register for text manipulation. If you want to convert a string to uppercase, you can use the toUpper function. Just use an expression like this, and it will replace the provided text with the uppercase version. Another example is concatenating strings. If you have a variable that holds a name and you want to create a greeting, you could do something like this, and it will print the concatenated string with the evaluated variable. Finally, the expression register is great for generating dynamic content. You can use it to create lists, generate file paths, or even pull in data from other sources. For example, if you want to create a list of numbers from 1 to 10, you could use an expression like this, and it will generate a comma-separated string from 1 to 10. If you want to insert the current working directory, you can use the function getCWD, or generate a new temp file name with temp name. You can insert the contents of another file into the current buffer with the readFile function. You can even run shell commands like ls to insert a list of files with the system function, system, and provide it the ls command. For a full list of the hundreds of built-in functions, type help built-in. You can even use the contents of another register when writing an expression for the expression register. For instance, let's visually select this bit of text and then press C to change it. This automatically puts us in insert mode, but also, remember, smaller deleted text goes into the small delete register. Now let's activate the expression register by pressing Ctrl-R followed by the equal sign. Next, we type the following expression, where you can see we use the @ to reference a register, so @ references the contents of the small delete register. We could have also used the unnamed register here instead by using @double quote. Hit Enter, and you can see it applied the toUpper function to the contents of the small delete register and inserted the capitalized text back into our buffer. Now this was a very simple example, but you can use this trick for very complex combinations of functions as well. For example, let's yank the following line of comma-separated numbers, and remember, yanked text goes into register 0. Then let's enter insert mode and go to a new line. Then enter the expression register again by pressing Ctrl-R, equals. We can enter the following expression, which references the 0 register with @0 and returns the sum of the numbers back into our buffer. Starting from the inside out, this expression first passes our line of numbers in register 0 to the trim function, which trims off the new line, then splits the comma-separated list into individual numbers. We then join this list back together with the plus sign. Then we use eval to evaluate this expression, which returns the sum. If you really want to get fancy, you can use the expression register in a macro and run it on each line. For more about macros, check out the video in the corner. As you can see, whether you're performing calculations, manipulating text, or generating dynamic content, the expression register is an amazingly powerful tool that opens up a world of possibilities. I hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into Neovim registers. For additional Neovim resources, you can check out my Neovim playlist on YouTube, here or in the show notes. Make sure to subscribe to see more great Neovim videos like this in the future.